However, neither camp has disclosed what was discussed.
Now, Penny Mordaunt is the only candidate to have officially declared so far, but she's lagging behind Sunak and Johnson. She hasn't got the numbers yet to actually get on the ballot.
Meanwhile, Defence Secretary Ben Wallace has called on all three of them to put aside their egos and work together for the good of the country.
Well, let's talk to our political reporter, Olivia Utley, who's here. Good to see you this morning. This is an extraordinary situation, isn't it? Because it looks like we're going to see a battle between the old number 10 and the old number 11, between all of this. But is either going to give way?
Well, it's possible that we find out today who the next Prime Minister is. These talks that were going on last night, it's being rumoured that they have managed, astonishingly, to come to some sort of arrangement. And I think that's because, over the last couple of days, it was sort of assumed that the Tory party would divide into the sort of wets and the dries, the right and the left of the party. You'd get the sort of establishment Conservatives, the One Nation Conservatives behind Rishi Sunak, and the right of the party behind Boris Johnson. It hasn't played out like that at all. We've seen Kemi Badenoch, as you've mentioned, Lord Frost, David Davis, all throw their weight in behind Rishi Sunak. And that has taken the sails out of Boris Johnson's campaign. So it's quite possible, mad though it seems, that the two managed to come to some sort of agreement where Rishi's competence and Boris's electoral mandate can work in unity.
See, does that tie in with... Sorry, Ellie, to butt in.
No.
But it's this Telegraph comment from Ben Wallace, right, the Defence Secretary, who has thrown his weight behind Boris Johnson. He officially... the
most caveated...
Well, in the caveated way...
pledge of support.
But he then... So, I mean, is it quoted here, he leans towards Boris Johnson, but he's called on Rishi Sunak to talk to rivals and offer them senior cabinet roles, which implies that he thinks Rishi's going to win.
It's very hard to say right now, and I think by the end of the day we will be so much clearer. But if I had to put money on it this morning, I would say that by the end of the day it could be all but confirmed that Rishi Sunak will be the next Prime Minister. From what I'm hearing, it does sound as though an agreement is about to be reached, but things are moving so ridiculously fast I could be proved wrong in the next couple of hours.
And do we have any idea what we could see happening with Boris Johnson then? You know, if he's not going to be in number 10, could he take a cabinet position? Is that something we could see Boris Johnson do?
Well, that's a really interesting question, because there are a few things that Rishi Sunak could offer Boris Johnson to strike some sort of a deal. One of them is a cabinet position, but as you sort of suggest there, is that something that Boris Johnson would accept? He could also find some way of overturning the Partygate inquiry into Boris Johnson. He could put a three-line whip on Tory MPs to vote against the inquiry coming to light in the Commons. But that would waste a lot of Rishi Sunak's political capital on his first few days in office. The other option is he could give Boris Johnson a peerage and put them in the House of Lords. But the Conservatives are, strangely, considering the 2019 election, in quite a precarious position. And probably the last thing he wants is another Tory MP going, and they have to have a by-election in Uxbridge, which is a very marginal seat. So these talks of a deal, I think it does look quite likely, but it'll be very interesting to see what is actually offered.
But doesn't it